G'day guys, welcome back to How to Run a Fitness Business. I'm your host Dan Hesp, presented by Onya today. So today we've got Ryan and Dale from Strength in Numbers Fitness here in Glasgow. There's a small group PT literally around the corner from where we're recording this, and they've got a super interesting story, and we touch on how they successfully onboard their clients to a small group PT business, the nightmare of trying to run a fitness business through COVID, and there's some interesting stories there. And then also the importance of marketing and social media and how to generate leads to run a successful business. So stay tuned and you'll have a good laugh with this one as well. Right, boys, let's get started. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate you taking the time, and looking forward to chatting about how Strength in Numbers is going, and it seems to be going from strength to strength, so looking forward to getting into it. So for those that don't know, it's Dale and Ryan from Strength in Numbers here, and they're just going to run us through how they run their small group PT facility. So if you wouldn't mind just we do it with everyone, it's just running through the kind of origin story of how, first of all, how you got into, actually how you met, that'd be a good one. If it's a funny story, that'd be a good one. How you met, how you got into fitness, how you got into the industry, and then how you got into the current position you're in now with Strength in Numbers.
Class.
Cool. You want to tell us who you are and how you get into the fitness industry? I'll do me, and then we'll combine and merge together.
Right, well, so I started in the fitness industry probably from a little bit of a different background from most people. I was actually a joiner before I was a coach, and it was something that I'd done for like 10 years, and then it just wasn't really fulfilling me, to be honest. It just wasn't really, I just couldn't picture myself being in a work van fitting kitchens for the rest of my life. Like the thought of it made me want to be sick in my mouth. But and then like I started training. I love training, and I pretty much loved every single thing about it. And then that kind of the idea of like, actually I'm quite good at this. And then started coaching a few of my mates, like just the people I was training with at the time. And then it was just like, right, do you know what, I actually think I could probably make a good go at this. And then the thought process was, if I can make the same sort of money by doing something that I really, really love doing, then I'd be happy and I'd be winning. So that, and then I just kind of went for it from there. I applied for the PT course, as I think it was probably one of the last ones that you actually done in person. It was like a mixed bag type thing. And then done that, got the qualification, didn't do a stitch with it for about a year. And then during that time, while I was still doing joinery, I kind of started building a wee bit more of an online presence, started putting more valuable stuff out online, and then you'll probably know David Hatt. I reached out to him, and I was kind of like, what are you doing? Because I want to know how you do it, and I want to be part of that. And then kind of went for there. Me and David's relationship kind of grew arms and legs, and David's probably a big part of how I kind of established my career. He showed me a hell of a lot of like how to run a coaching business, and I kind of took the side of the coaching side of my own back, and he showed me a hell of a lot of things from like an online standpoint, and just kind of went from there. I eventually got to the point where I left my job. I was working like 2 full-time jobs pretty much. I was going to the gym in the morning from at 6 o'clock, meeting my first client at 6 o'clock in my working gear, in my work van, getting changed, taking them through like the first 2 sessions, getting changed again, getting in my van about 7:30, 8 o'clock, then driving, speeding away to my first job, and then not taking a lunch break so that I could finish early, get back to the gym that I was working at the time, and then straight back into PTing. So that happened for, I'd probably say, the best part about 2 or 3 months, and then my full world just kind of crumbled. I was like, I was gone. I was burnt out.
Do you hear that, younger generation? You just don't get that work ethic anymore.
So I kind of burnt myself out a wee bit, but by that time I was kind of like, right, I could probably say that I'm never going back. So I actually went in the sick. I went in the sick, and then I just kind of freed up a hell of a lot more time. And then at that point, I kind of had the comfort of like, do you know what? I know that I can do this now, and I kind of just bit the bullet and went for it. And again, with the support of like with David and stuff like that, I had a little bit more of like so much learning to do from I suppose like the other side of coaching that's off the gym floor, things like that. I learned a hell of a lot with that, and then just kind of grew arms and legs, and eventually went to commando, and just went from there.
Sweet.
Class, man.
What about you, Ron?
Mine is slightly different. Like mine's, I was only ever really good at fitness. Wasn't the most academical at school. Like, you'll know I'm terrible at DIY, so I couldn't have been a joiner. So it was literally like fitness was the only thing I ever really wanted to do. When I left school at 16, went straight into an NQ in sport and fitness. I then went to university after that to do sports coaching, lasted about 6 months and dropped it, and then just found my way in a few shitty jobs for a little while and just kind of coasted through life for a wee while, just worked in call centres, worked in William Hills, and I was like, done that for a few years, and I'm like, right, this is getting me nowhere in life. So I went back to study again. I think I was maybe 21 when I went back to study. I went and done sports therapy, and when I qualified from that, which was like 2013, I done my PT course at the same time. So I got my PT qualification, my sports therapy HND, and I got a massage table, and I started going around and doing sports massage in people's houses. I got a job in Parklands Country Club. That was my first job in fitness in a gym. And I was just like a fitness assistant at the time. Started taking spin classes, started taking circuit classes, built my confidence with stuff like that. Started PTing people in their garages because I wasn't allowed to PT in Parklands. And then worked there for like 5 years. Built up a decent business of like just mobile PT and mobile sports massage. Like done both of those things, which kind of gave me enough to do a full-time income. And then I got in touch with the guys from the fitness group when I met you for the first time as well.
It's actually wild. How far back we go. I actually feel old.
So I ended up there. I actually worked with Stephen Dick, who owns the fitness group. I worked with him. He was my line manager at Sky when I worked in the Sky call centre. So he'd contacted me and said they were looking for a gym manager. They were kind of moving away and focusing on the kind of the business side of things and needed somebody to just kind of deal with the day-to-day operations. And at that point, I was the leisure manager at Parklands, but I'd been working there so long. I was doing duty manager shifts where Parklands is a country club, so I'd be like, help me out at the hotel, help me out at the bar. Like it was no longer just a fitness role anymore. And I was just finding myself getting steered in the wrong direction of what I really wanted to do. So I went there. Fucking hated it, to be honest with you. It was absolutely a shit job. Sorry, Stephen. Sorry, Scott. I'm sure it's better now. Didn't last there very long, truth be told. I was only on like a maybe 20, 25 hour contract, something like that. The good thing about that was I was allowed to PT. That was part of my job. Like I could PT as long as my duties were done round and about it. But my job was obviously do rotas and manage the team and have team meetings, and had to like the gym's actually, you will know yourself, it's located in like a building with loads of call centres in it. So I had to go down to the call centres and like pitch for memberships and all that sort of shit. Oh, it was terrible, man. So yeah, didn't last long there. Started working with Pat McVeigh doing the Shed boot camp alongside that. Decided to go full time with him, doing as many shifts as I could get for him, and he took on a gym in Rutherglen. I started PTing in that gym from Rutherglen, and then I've just been PTing pretty much since then. So I've been in the fitness industry for about 10, 11 years now, PTing probably full time for 8 years maybe. And then just jumped about various different gyms. COVID hit. When COVID hit, I got in touch with David Hatt. That's how I met Dale. The same guy you were speaking about. I mean, he's got more hair than David. But yeah, I got in touch with him. Obviously, the world was going to go very online at that time. I'd done no online coaching. I'd done like 45 to 50 hours of PT, and I was getting to that point where most PTs get to, where you almost, even though it's the only thing you've ever wanted to do and you love it, like you're getting burnt out, so you think there must be another way, and like, is this really for me? Because you're no longer really feeling as fulfilled by it. So I was feeling a wee bit burnt out, needed to find a better way. Got in touch with David and joined MTN during lockdown. Started kind of learning the ways, so did quite a long onboarding before the fitness world kind of opened back up again, and then joined the team, met Dale, integrated, learned lots of things about business, finances. I think before then I was just a PT, whereas I didn't know how to run a business, whereas now I'm in a position where I know how to run a business. And I think based on my experiences of being a gym manager, being a busy PT, but then also working with Pat's boot camps, like I loved that. Loved working in large groups of people. It was always, once I'd done that, I was always like, I would love to do this. Not copy what he does. We do a very different thing from what he does. It's like much smaller, much more intimate. But it was always like working and making an impact with a lot more people. And you know yourself with PT, like I do love PT. but you spend maybe 30 minutes of an hour with somebody speaking about the weekend and, you know, not actually coaching.
Yeah.
And if you're PTing someone for 2 years, there's only so many times that, you know, somebody needs to learn something, you know, so eventually it is just a relationship, just chatting about general shit and counting reps, which wasn't fulfilling me. So group training was always something that I wanted to do. And me and Dale got the opportunity to come in at Commando. And do group training. Wasn't sin. It was just, it probably was a bit of a replica of the Shed at the time. It was like a big, large kind of group. And then I'll let you take over. I've been speaking for ages, so you can take over from where I've left off.
Yeah, and then through all that, then how did Sin come about? Did you go, right, let's create our own thing, let's go out on our own, let's go find a spot and let's do it?
Yeah, I think again the group coaching thing kind of spawned from like me and Ryan's sort of love of movement as well. Like, a big thing, both of us were so passionate about like movement quality and like how people are moving and making sure that like really intrigued by proper coaching of like progressive overload and making sure that people are getting results like that. That was our biggest thing. And as Ryan said, we kind of like came up with, we spun a few ideas like, should we do seminars, should we do this, should we do that, I don't really know. And then we kind of went, right, this was even before Sin was a name. We started doing the sort of, it was like bigger boot camps, but we were trying to like put it, like spin it in a way that everything had like rep ranges to go do, and like people were like we were buzzing about this room of like, I think when we done it from Commando, what did we have in it? It
Like
was
40 people or something
40
like that.
people in a session. It was crazy, and we were running about mad, just like, and it was like these sort of trying to do like PT sessions in a massive group setting. So as you can imagine, it was pretty chaotic. And then from there, I think that's when lockdown kind of hit, and then we've kind of been through the mill with that.
Yeah, we just started doing like the boot camps and stuff, and then the gym shut, and we couldn't do anything. We were doing online Zooms, and we actually had by this point come up with a brand and decided kind of what direction we were going to start taking it in, but that put a halt in things. Like, I think based on what we loved, we couldn't manage 40 people with 2 guys and actually like be able to take duty of care to clients and make sure that they are getting the quality of results and make sure they are progressing, because people are slipping through the net with that many people. So we had an idea of where the business had to go and what we were going to be doing, and to create a business as well, because at that point it was just some classes to fill out your evening hours for your PT, something different. We obviously were forced to go online, do some Zoom stuff. Then the gyms didn't open, but you were allowed to train people outside. We went to Bellahouston Park and ran some outdoor boot camps. We bought all Ross McGaffney's old kit from Commando, and we filled our boots like to the brim with battle ropes, kettlebells, dumbbells. We had like about 400 kilos worth of kit. Like
Carl's are dragging
and it was like terrible weather. Where we could park our cars, we had to walk about 200 metres to the grass, so it was like back and forward.
I'm sure you get the
the
participants to do that. You go, right, warm up, get all the equipment out.
We were setting up before they all got there. It was murder.
You start to like really develop some really good skills of carrying stuff. Like, I mean, I don't think I've ever been able to remember stacking 3 sets of dumbbells and like this and holding the bottom one, stacking them and running
Battle
with them
ropes around your neck.
Like, it was chaos. But again, it's like, I think we done we've tried to get the group, the SGPT, which is a massive sort of boom right now, and I think like we were doing this right at the start of lockdown, and before we kind of like, we probably didn't really call it SGPT. It was just like, it's group coaching, you know, and that's what we called it. But as Ryan was saying, that the whole COVID and lockdown thing kind of put a halt to it. We tried to do, I mean, the online Zoom classes is like it's a major throwback. It's like the fact that we still kind of kept things going and rolling with that, like during that time, it goes to show how much we really believed in like being able to like help people. And it's like, we've been here before, we've done the whole sort of lockdown thing again. This was like round 2 of this, so I think both me and Ryan had a little bit of background on that, and we're like, right, let's just keep it going, because we knew that it wasn't going to be that much of a big thing like from us, from a financial standpoint at this point, or a business standpoint, but we know like further down the line, like this is going to pay dividends, because we're showing up and we're continuing to provide that service for people. And then the whole park run was the maddest thing ever, because we bought these like, it was in the middle, it was like winter, so it was the middle of winter, and we bought these, like, it get dark at like 3 o'clock. Like, I mean, typical Glasgow weather, pitch black, and we we actually went onto Amazon. We bought like these like, we need
Floodlights.
floodlights, right? Floodlights. Thinking it's going to be something, but it's like that, right? But it actually came probably half the size of this.
Yeah, right.
Like that. And we got
Like a
6 of them
torch.
delivered, man, and we're like, what the hell?
No, it lit a circumference of about half a metre.
Aye. We had them like
Everyone in
staggered all over the park at Bellahouston Park, and then we had this wee speaker that probably would have like the sound of, if you were standing here at the end of this room, you probably maybe hear it.
Yeah, yeah.
As soon as you go far past that, you're pretty much trading in silence.
Yeah.
Or the rain, the sound of
Yeah,
rain
yeah,
hitting
yeah.
off your head. So as soon as it's dark, but we're like putting these sections out, and we're like, right, we're running about with pretty much like, as you said, these head torches, and you would see like people like, oh, right, they're away, if we can chill out.
They
And then
can't see me.
as soon as they seen the light coming, they're like, oh shit, here they come. And they're like, and they start doing stuff. It was hilarious. But I mean, it was a good time. It was
Character building.
Character
Yeah,
building,
it was
right
character
there.
building.
Well, it
People
must be pure luxury where you are now. So how long have you been in where you are now? And for those that are listening, they're literally where we are in the east end of Glasgow. They're literally right around the corner in this beautiful old church, and it's kind of been renovated. And there's you're set up now with all these bays and all this equipment and everything like that.
We've been there a year, but like
yeah.
we've never had the luxury of like a nice gym or even an indoor facility.
No.
Because even like after all that, like I'll catch this up a wee bit quicker, but even after that, when we got the opportunity to get back into Commando, like Commando's an open gym, so there wasn't really like the space other than like for Ross's own classes for his members for there to be group training. Whereas they built like for COVID, so for when you could train outdoor, they built a kind of outdoor facility, but it was just like roofed. It was just like a wooden shed basically. It leaked to and it rains all the time here, so you were literally getting dripped on, but we get basically papped out there, which we were very, very grateful for at the time, because we wouldn't have been able to build our business otherwise. And we got the use of like all the kit that they had obviously invested in, so we were very, like, it gave us a foot in the door, it gave us an opportunity to grow a brand, it gave us an opportunity to learn our craft and get better. So we were in there for probably 2 years, or out there for 2 years, and it was great in the summer, like people loved it. It was obviously a bit too warm at times as well, but then it got to the winter and we were still out there, jackets on, North Faces on. It would be like -5, like touching the bars, you would be burning your hands, it was that cold. Guys were
on.
showing up, we were fully booked, weren't we?
Aye.
We ran a 1-to-6 ratio back then, and so there was 12 in a group, so it was always it was just me and him that done it. And we had, we got, I think the highest we got up to in the first year was like 72 members, so we started to just kept putting groups on, and we always ran it as intakes, like 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, 6 weeks on, 2 weeks off, and that's the way we kind of operated until we found our own place. And we met the guy Jonathan Gardner, who's always done our headshots and all that. His dad owns all the buildings round about there, so we met with him, and he basically just bought the church and had ideas for what he was going to do. Don't think the idea was a gym, definitely not, because the floor wasn't level. He had to level that the joiners had to level the floor. They were not happy to meet us, knowing that was their next job. But yeah, obviously it's changed tenfold, and it was a long process for us to move from Commando to there and get everything ready. But when it got ready, all we'd ever known and all we'd ever done was 8 weeks on or 6 weeks on and 2 weeks off, and we used those 2 weeks to market and make sure that the people that were dropping off were leaving us. And it was kind of like, it was almost like you were encouraging people to work with you for 8 weeks, and that was them done, because they were like, this is the end of this block.
It's a good, like, I suppose if you think of it, it's a good catalyst for people to start, but then there's also an end date to it, so there's no reoccurring constant. So like, how did you change that up then?
Well, we got we ended up investing in mentors, and when we told them we'd done that, they laughed.
Literally laughed.
You're paying for a facility that's closed 10 weeks a year. What the hell are you thinking? And when we got that realisation, we felt pretty daft. But we changed that pretty quickly. We had spoke about changing it. It's always like, you'll know yourself, like when you've got a loyal like bunch of clients that consistently come back. We always had like 40, 50 people of those 72 or 80 something, whatever it was back then, that always came back, and it's like changing the game for them. You're like, can they afford to do continuous? Like, or is that 2 week break, like giving people, like, making this like an affordable product for them and all that? And you always worry that.
I think any business in any industry.
I think a lot of people would probably look at that as like such a, alright, it's an easy change. Like, you just say you're not doing intakes anymore, and then you just do monthly rolling, and I suppose in a way that is a little bit of an easier change. But we changed so much in terms of, like, we pretty much had to tear a really, really, really successful business model down, because at the end of the day, like, we were like we're making really good income from it. The people that were coming were like loving it. There was no real sort of negative feedback from it. The product was great, but from like a business standpoint, we know there was such a bottleneck on it. And like obviously when we invested in these mentors, they were like, you need to get rid of this bottleneck or you're going to be stuck here. Like there's not going to be any growth at all. And for that, it was such a hard thing to try and accept and to be able to change down and be like, right, well, when we change it to monthly, that's fine. People can accept that, but it's then trying to go with those same people to get that ideology away from like it's not 8-week blocks anymore. It's going to be rolling, and then I'm going, right, so it's 4-week blocks now. I'm like, no, it's not 4-week blocks.
It is funny how people's head they get stuck in a certain way,
and it's just, and it was hard. It was a pretty stressful. I mean, I would say 6 months was proper hard graft of really feedback forms left, right, and centre. Constantly trying to get feedback from people, changing things, changing the product, getting everything set up so that would be the case of like how we can actually organise that. And then it was like, right, well, we now need to create more flexibility. Like we need more hours, because the issue that we had is like, even though that we were turning to monthly only, or monthly recurring, sorry, it was the way that the memberships was like you could only buy a Tuesday and a Thursday at 6 a.m. and that would be it. So like your monthly recurring like membership would only be for those specific days and those specific times, because that's the way we've always ran it, because it was 8-week blocks, and it's like that was the times that you committed to. So in order for us to be able to change that, we had to like completely restructure the way that the system would run and the way that the timetable would run, and we would have to put more hours on. So we went from, what was the amount of hours we did before we changed it?
16, but we done everything manually, so that was the problem, like, because we obviously offered a 8-to-1 ratio client to coach. Like we had no way to really manage that, getting overbooked or too many people showing up before. So we and again we were a wee bit stuck in our ways. Like when me and Dale obviously started this, and for a long time it was just me and Dale. So it's like trying to do the marketing, the sales calls, the coaching hours, the programming, like everything just felt like a lot. So like, and as we started to grow our team, we realised like we don't need to do this all alone, and maybe we can consistently market and make sure that, 2 people leave, hopefully 3 people join, and like make sure that we're getting that consistent like turnover of keeping the business afloat. And that was always the biggest fear. It's always the fear with any business, is just like, can I make this work? And because we were making it work, but we knew it maybe would still be working now, but it wouldn't have grown the way that we were doing it.
And I feel like everyone has that bit of apprehension sometimes with it, like, oh, it's working, don't fuck with it, don't change it too much. It's working. This is a good thing. We're moving here. But then you always, like you said, you get these people that look from the outside and they go, well, why don't you do this? And you're like, oh, okay, I'll try it.
The people that don't like change have got the loudest voices as well. So generally speaking, like if you're speaking to your long-term members and you're saying, we're thinking about doing this, oh, like I love it the way it is. So you think that's everybody's mindset. Yeah, that's what you automatically go to. You're like, fuck, everyone's going to leave us if we do this.
Yeah, 100%. That's 100%. I think that's true across all facilities. Like, it's the whole squeaky wheel type thing as well. It's like the members that have always got the issue with something will be the ones that will complain, and then all of a sudden you think everyone's got that mindset of, oh shit, everyone's not happy with this, and but really it's one person who's just I
suppose we kind of had a pretty decent way, because there is 2 of us as well. Like I suppose that's like having two owners. It's you kind of get to bounce off each other. So if one's thinking another way, the other one's thinking another way, it's like you can usually kind of level each other out a wee bit. I think the best thing for us.
I'm the panicker, innit?
I don't want to say that, but you were panicking. But I think it was more about like, it was just really trying to. But like believing what we were doing was the right thing. Like we knew deep down, like if we're changing this is going to make this service 10 times better. This isn't for like personal gain. This is to make the product better for our members, and making sure that the product that we are offering is continuing to evolve and get better for them. Like for the only negative feedback that they would have, in order for us to be able to fix that, we have to do the list of these other things of more hours across the board, taking away like your like specific membership, so that you can be more flexible when it does suit you, and making sure that we're then again open a hell of a lot more hours, which then requires us to hire more staff. So in actual fact, it's like we're doing a hell of a lot more to be able to serve you guys, to make this product work so much more.
Biggest thing is like when people are used to having so much things just done for them, or they don't need to think about things. They don't like having to take a bit more ownership. And when we obviously put the booking system in place, people now have to book the sessions that they want. And there are obviously always going to be more popular sessions than others. So there's some people that are used to just being like, I come at 6 a.m. and that is it. Whereas if they're slow in booking, it gets full. But at the same time, they now have the option to come to 7 different sessions across every day, whereas we only operated Monday morning, Friday morning, Tuesday all day, Thursday all day, Wednesdays off. Now we've got like a timetable right through. So there's everybody's flexible enough to at least get 2 to 3 sessions of the week if they really want to make it work.
Yeah, so it sounds like it almost went from like 2 guys doing PT, like structured throughout the week, bit of structured PT, to then like, no shit, now we're a proper gym, we've got a proper facility, and it like went much more professional, everything like that when you went into the new place, which is great. And from the outside, it looks like it's doing wonders. Like it's going so well.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks, mate.
One thing I'd like to know is run me through the journey of like, so, you know, a new potential client sees your content online, they go, oh yeah, I want to get involved with that. How does the whole onboarding experience work? Because for small group PT, obviously, if it was just, you know, for example, if it's like an F45 type thing, it's just, turn up to a class and go for it. And there's not much more thought that goes into it than that. Whereas small group PT is obviously a lot more that goes into it, and understanding where someone is in their fitness journey and all that kind of stuff. So could kind of run me through like the first time someone gets in touch to say, hey, I'd like to get some more info and I want to get involved. Like, how does that work? Like step by step.
Yeah. We've got 2 ways to capture leads essentially, and at the moment it is through Instagram DM, or we use a system called Cooks, which is where our members book their sessions, but it's also where all of our campaigns and stuff like that go. So if we're like, we always have people starting on a front end offer called our 6-week trial. So before they get a membership or a recurring membership, they do our 6-week trial, and that's to kind of give them a bit of an insight on a kind of short-term commitment basis, but an insight into everything that we do. So
they pay for that 6 weeks.
They pay for that up front.
Pay for that up front, yeah.
And it's again like one of our values is like, we'll give you the best fitness experience that you've ever had. So like, we make sure that this 6-week trial, it's like they get the personal touch that they would get at PT. Like I would describe our service as the best bits of PT and the best bits of online coaching in a service. Obviously, I'm a little bit biased, but I do believe that fully. And we do I use the same software that I've used for online coaching for years for our service. And all of our members get a lot of hands-on and personal support with us. So the way it kind of works generally is somebody will get in touch. We always we'll reach out. So if it's a lead capture on Cooks, we'll reach out to them initially and say, like to arrange a little discovery call, give you a bit more information about our service. Hopefully they'll get back to us and let us know a time that's best available for them. At that point, we'll then have a call, chat to them about everything, tell them generally the costs, how the structure runs, just give them an insight into the experience that other people are having, and just sell them the dream that they're about to live, hopefully. If they decide they want to go ahead with it, at that point, we basically onboard them to our Trainer Eyes app, get their program and everything ready to go, and then we arrange a onboarding call. And the onboarding call is they fill out our Roads to Result form first, so they'll give us a wee bit of information about their background, but generally just a bit of basic information, and then either myself or Dale will give them a call and just dig a bit deeper into what they're doing. We assign that client to one of the coaches, whether that be us 2 or one of the 4 coaches that's working for the brand just now. We'll assign that client to that coach. We'll leave a note on the client's profile of Cooks, basically just telling the coach everything that we've spoke about, what their history is like for training, what their previous, like if they've tracked before, if they've had success with tracking before, if they've like what calories have been successful for them in the past, just basically everything that's going to get them the results that they're looking for. And we just transfer that over to the coach, let them know to read over that. They'll then have that assigned on Cooks. The coach will get a text message to say they've got a new coach. They'll add that to their cohort group chat. They'll welcome them. They'll reach out to them personally. And then that's basically the show on the road for them. They'll come in for their first session. When they come in for their first session, they'll generally get more time spent with them. We'll kind of speak to them. We usually do a bit of a movement screen with them just to see if like the program that we've got, which our program's always a bit of a skeleton anyway, where they're going to slot into that. for doing barbell back squats, are they going to be doing a box goblet squat instead? I've been talking for a long time. You can take over.
No,
if you want.
you're doing,
That's
you're
good.
doing
That's
great.
exactly what I was looking for, like that proper step by step if it gets assigned to a coach. Because I think that's something that if you don't have that system in place, then it can just people can fall through the cracks, and a coach might have thought, oh yeah, I spoke to him about this, and then someone else spoke to him about something else. Or so I think it's
The biggest thing for us
good
with
idea.
that is like ensuring that if there is a delegation of a client moving over to a coach, is making sure that the coach knows exactly what this client wants and needs are. And then again, the way that we do all of our training with all of our coaches on the gym floor and the way that the sessions flow and stuff like that, if there is a new person, we've got like a register via Cooks. Again, our software that we have with that is great for our booking system, our register taking, making sure that we're taking all the information that we need. We've also got things like medical histories and stuff like that, so if anyone's got an injury, there's like someone can see that on that list and go, right, I've not seen them before. Me and Ryan would let that coach who's on the gym floor know, right, Sandra's coming in, she's brand new, she's still to get her movement screening, make sure you introduce yourself, X, Y and Z, speaking to her on the phone, she's got a little bit of an injury, dealing with her knee, I've listed some notes in that, so the coaches will get in there knowing what to look out for instead of like going in blind. It means that the coach at the time can then take a little bit of time to go through some things with that particular client, and they know based off of the training that we do with them that, right, if XYZ happens, where are you meeting them to be able to give them the correct dose of what they need from an exercise standpoint at the correct time. Because even though some people might be doing a squat pattern or a barbell back squat, doesn't mean that everyone's going to be doing that. It means that what are we regressing, how are we then going to be progressing that over the next 6 weeks for that client, how are we then doing it in a way that stops them thinking, oh God, why am I the only person not doing that?
Of course.
And it's like making them feeling comfortable and educating them on like, this is the step-by-step process and how you earn the right to be able to get there to where these people are, because they've been coming here for some of them 2 years, some 6 months, so we just have to earn the right to get there, and just educating the clients. And again, I think that's the biggest thing for us. It's not just a case of coming in and movement quality is definitely the biggest thing for us, and it's a massive thing, but learning how to lift, but also educating them on how to train properly and how they can progress all over their training, taking a little bit of ownership on themselves, so that then when they're not here, like, what are they doing outside of the gym, and taking that process to that next level, and just kind of adding those layers of accountability in there as well.
Yeah, and then I suppose in that 6 weeks as well, from a business point of view, you're thinking like, right, this is a whole sales pitch essentially the whole time during that 6 weeks, but it gives you 6 weeks of touch points with them constantly to be like, oh, great, okay, yeah, they're doing this. Oh, that coach knows this about me, and I didn't even tell them, but they're all over it type thing. Yeah. And then obviously at the end, you're hoping to get them to sign up to a recurring.
Well, 6 weeks is like a long enough time to make an impact with somebody, get somebody to be immersed in fitness and love the way that you do things, but probably not enough time for them to achieve all the goals that they've set for themselves. So it gives them an insight into what we do, and are these people the right people to get me where I've always wanted to go. And again, like the way that we market, the way that we program, the way that we deliver our service, it is catered to everyone. We say it all the time, it's catered to everyone, but we do have a massive intake of people that have got low to no experience in the gym coming through our doors, and it's because of the environment that we've created, it's because of the product that we've created, that it is something that can be so low barrier entry, because we will teach you from the ground up, and we will take that time to make sure that you feel comfortable in the gym, that you're surrounded by the right people. And again, it's one of those things like, if you're getting a certain type of person in the gym, that's the type of person that you get in the gym. We don't have any arseholes. We don't have any judgy people in there at all. So generally speaking, it is a nice place for people to come and kickstart their fitness journey. And again, we've got people that have been coming to us since the days where we were outside in commando. So it's not as if it's like we're just for new people. It's like our programming's advanced enough that if you've been training for 5-6 years, you can make some serious progress, but it's regressible enough that you can learn from the ground up as well. I think that's one of the things that I think we do best, and that's what I think I associate most with our brand.
I think like there's a real, and I reckon there's a real gap in the market for that all over the UK and all over the world, where it's like, because you get it in terms of, if you think of like a CrossFit gym or something like that, like people think straight away like, well, I need to be fit to be able to go and do that, or that, and then they might go into a pure gym or whatever, but they don't really know what they're doing, and they can't get to that next level to do what they want to do. But it's perfect to have that place to go to be like, oh, I haven't exercised properly since I left school.
Yeah.
And now you're 35 years old and you're like, I don't really know what to do in the gym. And it's like, if you can have that spot where you go, like if sin becomes the place to go, like that's where you figure out how to actually go to the gym and get a program and be healthy, as opposed to just being like, oh, I pop in and I do some curls in the mirror or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like actual structured program.
Yeah.
So
I think for us as well, it's like creating that culture, almost like the way that CrossFit is. Like when you think the biggest driver for people going to CrossFit all the time is because they feel part of something.
Absolutely.
It's like they feel part of, like when they get to go train with their friends, they have that, it's that extra layer of like friendly competition, and it's like you're going there to be able to meet other people and just like that's your place to go. You understand it's a bigger thing that you feel a part of, rather than going to either just a one-to-one PT or going to the gym on your own doing bicep curls in the mirror. It's like you feel part of a culture. And I think that's one of the biggest things that for me is what we try and drive there as well. It's like you're not on your own, you're part of something bigger, and it's like you understand where this is going and what this actually brings to your life. It's like having that
strength in numbers, eh?
Yeah.
Strength in numbers.
I think
Yeah,
the
it
big
works.
thing with that as well is like a lot of people that have came to us have maybe had a bad gym experience at some point. They've maybe went into a big commercial gym and they've went in with like, I know the machines that I know how to use, and they're too busy and they wander about and they just walk on a treadmill, or they've looked about for PTs but they think, that looks a wee bit intimidating for me, like he looks as if like he wouldn't understand my problems. Whereas like they look at what we do and it's not just like about us, it's about all the people that they're going to be training alongside and along with, and we showcase a lot of that on our page, like to showcase that it is like a lot of just everyday people with the same struggles as you, the same problems as you. So it right away, it's like, if that person can do it, I can do it as well. So I think that's something like that is slightly different. It's just the whole going to a PT in a one-to-one environment, it could be quite intimidating. You know, like again, most PTs will do a good job to overcome that, I'm sure, but having a bunch of people that are on your side, on the other side of the fence, and they're there with you throughout it. Like we've got so many people that have made like lifelong friendships through there. Like one of the girls get married early in the year, and I think 4 members were at our wedding for dinner and stuff like that as well. You know, it's that's one of the big things that I love about what we've done.
That'd be the rewarding part for you guys as well, to see people, this community you guys started out of like, oh yeah, let's try this thing, and then all of a sudden people are lifelong friends and stuff like that.
Well, that's amazing.
You briefly touched on your social media there. I think you do a great job of it, and you keep it very consistent, and it's always showcasing, exactly like we just touched on, showcasing the real life members and their whole experience in the gym. If you wouldn't mind touching on like your structure there, like you know, do you particularly just go like, right, on a Wednesday we're shooting all our content for this time and then schedule it out, or how do you focus on that?
To be honest, I wish it was as much as that as a structure, I suppose. But I think like me and Ryan are quite lucky from that standpoint, because we've got an online coaching background. I think like when you're an online coach, that is your job really. It's marketing and sales, and then obviously of course you get your coaching side of it, but to get the leads continue to come in is going to be from that standpoint. I think that when we first started doing it with Sin, it was more like, right, what's the value that we can give to future members, and like what can we showcase, how are we really showcasing, what would they get when they come here. And I think me and I still mainly focus on that. I think like our job from a content standpoint is always looking at, right, well what sort of problems can we solve, and that's where our heads always go. It's like, right, what are the problems that we solve, what are the simple factors and feelings that people have when they think about going to a group training or going to the gym in the first place. Like, what if I park my car in the wrong place and I don't go at the right door, or if I walk in the wrong place and then like people are all looking at me and like I'm just a new mum, I'm not been training for X, Y and Z, and like trying to think and get inside of like what way is our future members thinking, and it's about, right, how do we solve those problems, and how do we then market in a way that allows them to see, right, well, we've got clients here that's been in the exact same position as you, and they've had the same feelings, the same sort of doubts, the same sort of like roadblocks in their life, and how we've managed to help you overcome that. That is how we try and kind of live our market, like push our market on that.
Definitely. I think like as the brand's grown as well, we've tried to get the rest of the coaches more involved in doing some of the things that we used to enjoy doing. As part of MTN, it used to be a lot of kind of like flexing what you know about coaching, and doing a lot of like educational stuff surrounding nutrition, or showing people how to demonstrate an exercise really, really well. Whereas like we let those guys like that are there be the face of that now, because they're doing a wee bit more of it than me and Dale now, and we focus on exactly that, like getting the emotion across and like solving the problems and the main marketing, the stuff that's probably going to get the right people to the gym. But there's not really a structure. We've tried to do things like that as well. Mindset Monday and
I think it will get better. I think like we're getting better, and I think like the more we're not on the road of paid advertisement or anything along those lines yet. Everything that we've done from a business standpoint and a marketing standpoint has been completely organic. And I think like we probably do that very, very, very well. Whereas like even in the mentorship that we're in, a lot of people are paying for ads and doing paid ads, and again that works great for some people, but I think like even right now we're maybe not at that point where we want to be in that position. It's not a case of like we don't want to do it, we eventually will do it, but we're handling the leads that we're getting right now and the lead flow that we're getting, and how we can manage that is like it's enough for us right now. But I think from like just that marketing standpoint, I think it will evolve and it will get to a point where it will be a little bit more structured and a bit more professional. We're able to now be in a lucky enough position that we can start to invest in a little bit more professional content, where we have like Mark Media, shout out big man, who comes in and does a lot of our content from a video standpoint, and like interviews and things like that, and so it's going to continue to grow and get better. And I think the one thing, if there's like any advice that I could give there, is that a lot of PTs, coaches, even businesses like think it's almost like social media is a little bit of an afterthought of like, it's like a thing of when I'll get a bit of time I'll do it, or when I'll get this. It's like that has to be the forefront of everything that you're doing at the moment. Like if you're not getting leads in, then you don't have a business. As simple as that. Like that has to be one of your main priorities of that's your shop window. That's how you promote. That's how you get people into your business.
I think we've always been in the mindset though, like that. I think that's why we've not maybe needed a structure. Probably like we should probably have one, but the reason that we've not got one, or we've not put too much emphasis on that, is because we've been living our lives for the last 4 or 5 years. Like, I must post on social media. There must be something up on socials. We must be visible on socials. If we are not there, somebody else is, and that person might be looking that day, and they might be looking at that person. Like you wouldn't have a shop and have it open 3 days a week. You'd have it open 7. So we are like, again, if I haven't posted on even my personal social media, where I'm not really trying to grow a personal brand anymore at all, like if I haven't posted, I get this kind of sense of guilt of like, I've not really showed up today and done what I've been doing for the last however many years. So I think we're just trying to install that in the team now, and just be like, right, this has to be at the forefront of being important as well. Like I think for us, we have in the team, like we're trying to get them more involved in the content. So one, they build their own profile within our brand, and they build their own personal brands as well, because it's stood us well for a long time.
I suppose that's the only bit of structure you do have. It's like you have like, we'll tap into the emotional side of things, and you guys take care of the value side of things, and that's probably is the sort of structure. And when I look back and you think about it, it's not like on a Monday I do this, on a Tuesday I do this. It's just not the way that my brain works. There's so many people who work that way, and they work fantastic that way. I don't. I work off of a bit more inspiration. If I listen to podcasts, like one day I'm like, oh, that's a great idea, I'm going to take some notes on that. I'm going to like put my own spin on that. It's like me and Ryan are probably both very similar that way. Like be a bit more like just in the moment, sort of like I'm going to speak about that, because I think that's just the way that my brain
what you feel as well. If you've had a conversation with a client that day and you're like, I want to tell that story.
Absolutely.
You know, I want them to tell that story. I'm going to get the mics and just interview them and ask them a few questions.
Fantastic, boys. Right. Last thing here, we'll wrap it up. But before we go, I asked this to everyone, just kind of one to two sentences of advice you'd give to yourself if you started all over again.
We discussed this. Already. And personally, for me, like, is this like what you would maybe do differently if you started over again?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what would you do differently?
It's there's mistakes I've made along the way, and there's things that maybe would have got me to where I am quicker. But I don't think I would be as well versed and well experienced if I hadn't made those mistakes. So for me, like, and it's maybe a cliche answer, but I genuinely wouldn't change anything. because I think like I've learned a lot of the things that I never need to do again. And I've learned a lot of things that have worked so well for me. And I've also learned things that worked well for me but no longer work now, and I need to change. So to get me to where I am now, and you know, that if I change things, maybe I could be further ahead, or maybe we could be better. But like I'm happy with how my like career in the fitness industry's went, and I'm happy with how Sin as a brand has grown and kind of evolved over the kind of 3 years it's been alive.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the exact same position. I don't really regret anything that we've done in the past, and I think if I was to an opportunity to do it all over again, I probably would.
Maybe
again,
less heavy kit in the field.
I was going to do that, but maybe try and maybe not procrastinate as much. I suppose like just make the decision. And I think like for anybody out there who's looking to start a business and look to do anything, like just don't be so scared to fail anything. Like just go and try it. Like just go out there, and if you believe in something that you know that's going to be helping other people, and you genuinely believe that it's going to actually have an impact on people, then go and fucking do it. Like just go and try it and fix along the way. Like doesn't need to be perfect.
Love it. Awesome, boys. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, anyone that wants to check him out, you'll find him on social media. You're answering all your questions, getting yourself sorted, get yourself in there, and yeah, cheers, boys.
Sweet.
Thanks,
Thanks
Dan.
mate.